7 o'clock a.m. on a Saturday, the world's just barely waking up, and suddenly, bam! A blacked-out BMW comes flying through my brand-new fence, splinters shooting everywhere, tires screeching so loud it could wake the dead. And the kicker. Before I can even make sense of the booze stench pouring out of that car, here comes Patricia Thornfield, queen of the HOA, marching down the street like she owns the sun. She flashes a card at the cops, points at me, and says, "This guy pays for it all. My son's car, the fence, everything. HOA rules." You gotta be kidding me, right? There I am, clutching some bogus police report that magically blames me for her kid's little drunk driving party, 3 weekends of sweat and woodwork wiped out in the blink of an eye. Bryce, her precious boy, leans against the hood smirking, and Patricia's grinning like she just won the lottery. She doesn't even see it coming. Sirens start up, tow truck rolls in, and the flatbed lifts Bryce's BMW right out of her reach, all in front of the whole neighborhood. Her victory grin snaps to shock. That was just the opening act. If you ever wondered how far you'd go to put entitled bullies in their place, keep listening. So yeah, that's me. Garrett Holloway, 52, recently divorced, an electrician by trade, thought buying my first house would be my big comeback. Turns out it was more like signing up for suburban warfare. I spent 2 years working 60-hour weeks, running on gas station coffee and stubbornness just to save up for this little 1970s ranch in Willowbrook Heights. Wasn't fancy, but it was mine. I hit the place like a man on a mission, painted those navy blue shutters 3 times over, lined up tomato plants so straight you'd think I was ex-military. And every Saturday there I was, coffee in hand, boots crunching on autumn leaves, breathing in barbecue smoke and fresh October air. But my pride and joy, that white picket fence. 3 weekends, every post measured, every board perfect. It wasn't just a fence. It was proof I'd survived divorce, clawed my way out of a studio apartment that reeked like Marlboro Reds, and built something my kids could be proud of. Emma's 16, sharp as a whip and twice as fierce. Tyler's 14, already learning the ropes. This house, it's more than just shelter, it's our fresh start. Willowbrook Heights used to be that kind of place. You know, where teachers and plumbers wave at you from the porch, people drop off soup during snowstorms, and nobody's too proud to shovel their own walkway. But times change. Now half the houses are owned by tech execs who see property values where I see neighbors. They want clean driveways, but God forbid they ever thank the guy who clears snow before sunrise. Enter Vivian Ashworth, retired tech exec, drives a spotless white Tesla, like it's her spirit animal, moved in from some California gated community, and immediately started rewriting the rules. HOA board in 6 months, president in 12. Lives 4 doors down, and in 3 years hasn't so much as waved at me, not once. The only thing she notices is when my truck's parked a degree off or my mailbox flag is the wrong color. Everything hit the fan after that February storm. 2 feet of powder wind howling, minus 15 degrees. County courthouse smells like dust and old secrets, and there I am flipping through decades of HOA papers. That's when it hit me. Patricia hadn't just bent the rules, she'd shattered them. Maintenance contracts to her brother-in-law, triple market rates. Emergency repairs billed but nothing done. Community funds vanished right before her kitchen got redone. She'd turned Willowbrook into her own piggy bank. I sat there, bitter coffee in hand, realizing I'd been paying for her granite countertops. But it didn't start there. My first taste of HOA power came in a polite little envelope. Please ensure compliance with community standards. $50. I thought whatever, maybe Vivian just needed to flex. Big mistake. Second envelope comes, the fines doubled. Relocate commercial equipment or face escalating penalties. That's HOA for welcome to hell, buddy. But see, my ex-wife's divorce lawyer once told me, in disputes, burden of proof falls on the one claiming damages. So I did some detective work. Camera measuring tape, boots crunching over the wreck of my fence. Turns out Bryce was driving on my side of the street, texting hammered. My fence 18 inches inside the property line. Video from Mrs. Monroe's doorbell shows it all, Bryce cell phone in hand, music blaring, 7:23 a.m., on a street about as foggy as a Phoenix desert. I filed my report, sent photos to every board member. 30 years of electrical work taught me paperwork beats politics. But Patricia doesn't give up that easy. Officer Martinez calls whispers. There's pressure from community leaders on how I write my reports. If you've got proof, I'll amend, but it better be bulletproof. Patricia was buying herself a cop. Even in a corrupt system, there are cracks. 2 days later, emergency HOA meeting. Room smells like bad coffee and Patricia's overpriced perfume. She runs it like a show trial, board members nodding like bobbleheads. Mr. Kowalski actually dozed off during her lecture on fiscal responsibility. The vote $500 fine for my unapproved fence retroactive Rule 2. Kangaroo court start to finish. But sitting there, a switch flipped. This wasn't about a busted fence. This was about 25 years of intimidation. Patricia's playbook was simple manufacture violations, rubber stamp votes, scare anyone who pushed back. She thought I was done. But every bully makes the same mistake. They assume their victims stay victims. She had no idea who she was up against. Patricia's revenge kicked into high gear. Late fees, admin costs, $400 bill copy to my mortgage company. She wanted my house. Classic squeeze play. But by then the courthouse basement was my office. I dug through her history contracts to family fake repairs, a community scholarship that just happened to go to her daughter. Every neighbor I talked to had a story: mailboxes smashed, made to pay for someone else's landscaping, rubber stamp fines. Patricia had targeted newcomers, the quiet, the vulnerable. The twist: while organizing my divorce files, I stumbled on state rules, annual audits required for HOAs. Patricia had skipped 4 years in a row. Penalty: automatic board dissolution if any resident gets 25 signatures. Her fortress had a crack. Patricia escalated again. Surprise inspection while I was at work. Fines for grass too short, garden gnome out of season, house numbers wrong font. Bright orange notices everywhere. Psychological warfare. But then Bryce made it personal, caught on camera 2 a.m. Spray painting my mailbox. Officer Martinez tried to keep it neighborhood-style code, for Patricia still owns this place. What she didn't get: her strength, total control, was her fatal flaw. 25 years of decisions, all her signature, no deniability. I started gathering more signatures, more stories. Mrs. Monroe's daughter traced social media attacks on me right back to Patricia's IP. Neighbors started whispering. Resistance felt possible. That's when the wild card appeared. Mr. Kowalski, the guy everyone thought was just a sleepy retiree, turns out he's ex-IRS Criminal Investigation Division. 27 years chasing financial crimes. He'd been quietly gathering evidence for years, just waiting for someone to have the guts to push back. Got copies of everything Patricia thinks she destroyed, he says. Recordings of her bragging about scamming stupid neighbors. That's when things got real. Patricia, sensing the walls closing in, started liquidating assets, prepping to skip town. But flight risk in federal cases means serious time. And the original development agreement hidden in a dusty cabinet if the HOA failed audits or committed fraud, county takes over. One complaint and Patricia's empire goes up in smoke. Of course, Patricia didn't go down easy. Bribery attempts, fake blog posts calling me mentally unstable, anonymous flyers about my criminal past, threats against everyone helping me. But every attack just built my case: witness intimidation, obstruction, the works. When Bryce crashed again, third DUI, this time hitting a neighbor's car, the police couldn't look away. Bryce got arrested, ankle monitor and all. Patricia's husband cornered me at the grocery store, offered 10 grand to forget the whole fence thing. I recorded the whole pitch. By now, federal investigators were circling the FBI, freezing assets. When the news broke, front page, HOA, president embezzles millions, the neighborhood exploded. Patricia melted down in a TV interview, denying everything while admitting small bookkeeping errors. That video went viral. The trial was pure theater courtroom, packed slides showing millions siphoned to Patricia's family. Audio recordings played of her bribery attempts. She tried to blame Derek, her brother-in-law, then insisted everyone should be grateful for her community leadership. The judge called it the worst abuse of trust he'd ever seen, ordered the HOA dissolved county to take over full restitution and maximum sentences. Patricia, in shackles, turned and screamed, "You destroyed everything I just said." "No, Patricia, you did." The whole courthouse cheered. 6 months later, everything's changed. Kids laughing in the street, neighbors actually talking, no more violation notices taped to doors. Patricia got 18 years. Bryce got probation and community service cleaning the parks they'd robbed. HOA fees cut in half, new transparency rules. Mrs. Monroe ran for city council and won. Mr. Kowalski started a foundation for HOA abuse victims. We even have a Fence Day celebration painted red, white, and blue. Where Patricia's mansion once stood is now a community garden. Here's what sticks with me. Patricia's real crime wasn't just stealing money. It was stealing people's voices, making them feel powerless. But when we stood up even a little, that power crumbled. You see, the lesson isn't about one rotten fence or even one corrupt board. It's that ordinary people, when they stop being scared, can take down even the biggest bully. So let me ask you, what's the line between power and abuse, between keeping order and choking out your own neighbors? Would you speak up or just keep your head down and hope the wolf never knocks at your door? Drop your own HOA horror stories below, or just share what you think about justice, about fighting back, about the price of looking the other way. And if you're ready to turn your anger into action, you know what to do. Because sometimes the fight over an $800 fence ends up saving millions for everyone else.
Cảm ơn các bạn đã xem video.